Hi, my name is Mike Danseglio, and today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about how to troubleshoot VoIP performance issues. Connection issues, performance issues, things like delayed speech or dropped connections or garbled voice communications, they could be really super annoying. And there's some real basic ways to actually start to troubleshoot the problem, to start to identify and encapsulate where the issues are so that you can move on to actually resolving the issues. Some of the tools are real basic that you can at least get an idea of what's going on. However, there are some more advanced tools that give you more performance information and more depth as to what's going on, and I'll mention those towards the end of this presentation. So first part is I'd like to assume that we're opening a communication, we're opening a VoIP channel to akami.net, akami.net. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ping it. And you've all seen ping before. Certainly ping is a really useful, effective tool for determining whether our system here can reach their system there, whether your network or your host can actually reach that. And you can see that I've actually been able to reach that from my host here. That's great. That's a good first step. However, there's a couple of other things here that we want to try just to make sure that we're not having any trouble reaching akami.net. I'm going to throw the -a command here into it, and what that does is it actually helps resolve the name. In case the akami.net was not resolving or was resolving to a different host, you would be able to see some difference. Now right now it's actually resolving in a pretty consistent fashion. However, depending on the time of day, akami.net actually does DNS round robin, and so I will see different hosts resolving for akami.net. So that's an interesting potential VoIP issue because every single time it resolves to a different IP address, it may resolve to something with a different performance threshold. I may get better or worse performance depending on what it resolves to. Now the second tool I'd like to show you is something that some people know, some people don't know. It's called traceroute. And what it is really just an extension of ping. But what it does is it uses a crafty thing in ping. It uses the TTL, the time to live frame, or the time to live portion of ping, to actually end of life these and return the packet as unreachable at every step in the routing of this packet. So what we're seeing here, what you actually wind up seeing, is a list of hosts between this client that I'm on now and akami.net, wherever it's resolving to. And you can see here that we're resolving this name to deploy.akami.technologies.com. And so that's useful to know that we've actually got a name. But interestingly, you can see between hops 7 and 8 and between hops 9 and 10 that there's a significant amount of delay getting introduced in the packet routing. This is usually where you start to see VoIP issues degrade. Now, the difference from 8 milliseconds to 100 milliseconds, not such a great difference. But the difference between 100 milliseconds and 5 milliseconds, or 500 milliseconds, might be significant. So that's the kind of thing you want to look for when you actually take this type of traceroute. When you see the traceroute come up, you generally want to look for the big hops, the difference between 7 and 8, the difference between 8 and 9. Those are the big delay factors. So then you want to try to instantiate a VoIP connection, maybe with something on the close side of hop 7, and then on the far side of hop 7 to see if that's the delay. If the delay introduced in that hop is actually causing the VoIP issue. Then you can determine, oh look, it's between c1.alter.net and c1.gblx.net. That's getting closer and closer and closer, honing in on the problem so you can identify it and resolve it. One other thing I want to show you that ping does that some people don't know is ping-t. Ping-t just keeps pinging, pinging, pinging all day long. And while this may seem annoying, it's an interesting way to get an average over time, round trip time between this host and the target host. There are a lot of automated tools that do this in a bunch of better ways. I would, if I were you, looking at performance issues around VoIP, look at other solutions, alternate solutions that actually automate some of this so that you don't have to sit here at a command prompt and watch ping round trip times all day long. That can get really boring, and frankly, it's not really going to yield a whole lot of interesting data that you can prove with.